No, not at all. No, I was a complete wimp, and I didn't really misbehave very much, or if I did, I made sure I wasn't caught. There was one event with a pond at my school, but apart from that, I think I was quite a goody actually. But as I'm a writer, I probably did what most writers do, is I watched the tough, courageous kids and took notes. I think there's probably two relationships going on there. I think if you asked Johnny, it would be a bit like, there's a Facebook thing about relationship status and you say it's complicated. I think Johnny would probably say it's complicated. Because his dad's died, he feels like he has to kind of be a parent to Mojo, and so he has to be really sensible. And while that's a pain, because he's 13, he doesn't want to be sensible, it also makes him feel a bit grown up. So I think that's changed their relationship. But they've been really thrown together, so their relationship is incredibly close as well. And I think they have a lot of fun together. And I think they're really on the same wavelength. So for Johnny, I'd say it's a slightly complicated relationship. But for Mojo just thinks Johnny is great. In anything Johnny does, Mojo thinks he's fantastic and he's the best at. And for Johnny, that's wonderful. It's nothing like being adored by someone younger than you. I think everything influences and shapes young people, whether they get involved in football or chess or brain surgery for beginners. It all has a difference on moulding the person they're going to become. I think art, though, is a little bit different, and dance can be a little bit different. And in the book, Mrs. Cray, the dance teacher, is very clever. Rather than just showing them how to do steps and making them stick to her routines, she gives the kids quite a lot of freedom to interpret the dance in their own way. And I think that was the key to the success of the show for Johnny and the success of the experience. And I think that's the same way that you do art, whether you do painting or music. You get to interpret things in your own way, and you get to be creative in a way that you don't get to be normally at school. And through that creativity, you grow as a person. You get to make mistakes, you get to come up with solutions. No one can tell you, you can say mistakes, but no one can tell you what's wrong and what's right in art. And that's why it's such an amazing opportunity for a kid to be doing something that's a little bit different like this. And I think it just makes you feel good inside. Doing something like that just really calms your spirit, makes you feel a lot better. So I think art for children, all sorts of art, is incredibly important. You're not alone. Lots of children are bullied. I don't know what the statistics are, but most people have been bullied or been close to someone who's been bullied, and that doesn't help. Being bullied absolutely stinks. It's really horrible. And the thing to remember, first of all, is it's not your fault. It really isn't. It isn't anything you've done. It isn't what you look like. It's just the way it is in schools when people are on top of each other. Of course, that doesn't make it any better. So the first thing I would say is always talk to somebody. Don't hold these things inside. Someone has just put this awful thing onto you and you need to express it. So whether, if you feel like you can't speak to your teachers or your parents, speak to your friends and they will understand. Talk to somebody. Get some advice from the people who are on the ground there, but don't let it eat away at you. And also, I want to say another thing which might sound a bit funny, but if you think about the bully in the situation, in the book, Liam he's the bully, and he is actually, although he kind of gets a kick out of bullying, he also finds it really tiring. It's a huge responsibility for him. You see, he bullies in order to keep his social status high, and he feels like if he loses his status, he would have lost everything because he doesn't have much else in his life. So if you can sort the bullying out quicker, you'll actually be leaving everybody suffering all around you. Reading is actually writing backwards, and I absolutely love reading. And apart from that, what passions do I have? I've got a few pets and they keep me really busy. I've got a very elderly cat and two really bouncy, crazy Labradoodles, and those are the things that I really enjoy in my spare time, taking the dogs out and hoovering up their hair. I would say horse, just because it would be a wild horse, not one that anyone rides, 'cause it's fantastic to be able to run through the hills. Also a dolphin, because dolphins are just, when they're in water, it's like they're flying, but they're flying through the water, and they have great social networks with families, they communicate really well, and they're so cute that no one wants to kill them. So something with not very many predators, yeah, dolphin. I was both. I did ballet for 11 years, but I wasn't very good at it, and I didn't really do any amazing shows or anything like that, but I enjoyed it. But I did really like acting and singing, and I peaked age 10, unfortunately. It was all downhill from there. But I was Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz when I was 10, and that was amazing. That was just the end of primary school, and it was just such a wonderful, special time, and I'm really lucky to have done that. So yes, definitely. And I think performing, if you like it, it can be the best feeling in the world. I hope Johnny's wherever he wants to be. I could say I hope that Johnny carries on dancing and, is working on the stage, and that would be fine as long as that's what he wants to do. I hope that in the book, what I've given Johnny is some self-belief and access to his own creativity, which allows him to move on and to use those skills in whichever branch he chooses, however he chooses to use them in his life. I hope he is feeling happy in himself. I hope he's being himself, being true to himself, and making the most out of his life. That's what I'd like for him. It's very hard when you're writing and you want to show what somebody looks like. So what I do is I pull funny faces. I sort of act as if I'm being the person in my story. So if someone's really worried or something, I might frown, and then sometimes I go and look at it in the mirror. So if you watched me writing, you might think I was having some sort of funny turn, but I'm not. I'm acting out the story.